What's the most insane way you've seen a petty person's plan backfire? My neighbor, Cynthia, lived in a state of constant, simmering competition if I planted tulips. She planted bigger tulips if I put up one string of Christmas lights. She put up 5. It was exhausting, but mostly harmless. Until I won the town's Garden of the Year award for my roses. She stopped speaking to me after that. She'd just glare at me from behind her perfectly trimmed hedges. 2 weeks later, 2 caseworkers from Child Protective Services were at my door. They were polite, but firm. An anonymous tip had been called in, alleging child neglect, an unsafe home. I was horrified. My blood ran cold. I let them in, my hands shaking. They walked through my spotless house, checked my fully stocked fridge, and spoke to my 2 happy, well-adjusted kids who were playing video games in the living room. They could clearly see the call was bogus. As they were leaving, one of the caseworkers, an older man with tired eyes, paused on my porch. He was looking across the street at Cynthia's house. I saw him squint, then his eyes fixated on an upstairs window where a curtain had just twitched. I didn't think anything of it. I was just relieved they were leaving. I closed the door, my heart still pounding, and tried to calm down. An hour later, I looked out my window and saw 2 police cars parked quietly in Cynthia's driveway. They weren't using their sirens, but the flashing lights painted my living room walls blue and red. They knocked on her door, and Cynthia answered, a smug, triumphant look on her face. I could read her lips from across the street. Is it done? She asked, thinking they were there about me. One of the officers just shook his head and asked, Ma'am, is your son, Kevin, inside the house? The smug look on Cynthia's face dissolved into pure panic. She tried to slam the door, but they were too quick. They brought her son out in handcuffs, a boy I hadn't seen in years. It turns out he had an active felony warrant and had been hiding in her attic for the last 6 months. The anonymous CPS call had brought law enforcement to her address, which triggered the warrant in their system. Her attempt to ruin my life ended up imploding her own. Her house went up for sale 3 weeks later. The new owners tore out her entire prize-winning lawn and put in a vegetable